We look around some of the other big boys doing business. Andy, Tottenham Hotspur are flying. I mean, bringing in Perisic, obviously Basuma, Fraser Forster, some really good signings to strengthen the squad. I mean, how do you feel about Tottenham? And Arsenal and Chelsea and others in London are looking around and thinking, we wish we were making these kind of moves early in the summer.
Yeah, we can talk about the actual signings, who's been brought in, how they're going to fit at a later date. But the fact that Antonio Conte, Fabio Paratici have essentially converted Daniel Levy and broken him down and said, this is how we're going to do business. We're going to do it early in the window. We're not going to leave it to deadline day looking for the best possible deal and miss out on the players that the manager, Antonio Conte, truly want. I'm not going to stand for that in the way that previous managers did for years and years. And, getting the deals done 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the window, knowing that most of the squad, if not all of it's going to be set for day one of preseason when Conte meticulously is ready to start drilling in his tactical plan for this team, to not have the start in the first 10 games this season that they did last season. It just feels like everybody is finally pulling in the same direction with the same idea. And the people who should be the ones kind of dictating how things are going to run are the ones doing that now.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, Spurs fans is exactly what they wanted, right? When Antonio Conte came in, what they hoped for. Obviously, the early signs weren't great when he talked out against the club quite a lot and quite frequently.
But you know what? I think that's why it's happening now the way that it is, because he came in, he applied pressure where it needed. He looked at the club and said, this club has potential. Very big club in London, the stadium, the training facilities, the money, the commercial power that they now have, and said, this should be better. I'm going to make this better. And I think he has absolutely done that. And I think putting the pressure on Levy publicly, where it maybe made some Spurs fans feel like he wasn't committed or he was just going to leave quickly if the first time that things got bad, I think he knew exactly what he was doing. I think we're seeing the fruits of that now.
Genius. Champions League qualification obviously helped as well and took them to a totally different stage, but looking really good for Tottenham. Nick, across North London, Arsenal making some waves, and it looks like Gabriel Jesus, they're working really hard to get him in. Rafinha as well from Leeds United. Looks like they've stolen the march on Barcelona and others. So what do you think about that? Because we thought Yuri Tielemans would come in. He hasn't come in yet, may still do. Obviously, Fabio Vieira coming in from Porto. That's all but confirmed. Some really good attacking signings, but these are the kind of players that Arsenal actually needed. I think Gabriel Jesus is perfect for them, especially with his connection with Mikel Arteta. But are they still maybe a bit too top-heavy when you look at some of the attacking players they already have in Saka, Smith Rowe, Odegaard? I mean, what do we think here? Because they definitely needed that number 9. But I kind of question whether they needed Rafinha because they've got Martinelli. They've got other pieces there. But it's not bad. It looks like it's moving again in the right direction for Arsenal if they can get these moves over the line.
Well, look, it's very interesting. I think there's a lot of faith being shown in Arteta, and I think he's earned a little bit of faith. I think they've cleaned up what we really knew they needed to clean up, right? Like so many center back buys for a while, and we wondered what they'd develop, and the sort of obsessive discussions over whether this is the time William Saliba actually gets to play for Arsenal. Look, Ben White is good. Aaron Ramsdale had a great season. Ben White, I don't even want to say he's good. I feel like it's understepping. He's very, very good, and he's formed a good partnership. I think we've seen when Tierney is healthy, although that's a loaded question. There were a lot of players that they were missing in defense last year or missed for a while because of injury. The Tielemans thing is a thing I thought they would have been made a little bit more of a priority on because I think the attacking pieces are there. But the one thing I want to say, Martinelli, I like him, and Smith Rowe, I like him. But if Arsenal's going to be Arsenal, it's not just, look at these guys who have arrived and they're kind of good. It's taking them and challenging them. So if Smith Rowe, not that it's not like for like, but just make the comparison here. If Smith Rowe is going to hold off Rafinha and still start, what great news for Arsenal. But I think that when a young guy is good, that's awesome. But when you can get a guy who's better, that's even better. So if Arsenal wants to be Arsenal, they've got to start to build back the depth that they used to have.
Absolutely. Great point there. Defensively, they were solidified last season. That was the big improvement for them, the reason why they nearly got into the top 4, but missing, Aubameyang leaving mid-season and not being himself, Lacazette then leaving in the summer, and Nketiah signed a new deal, so that's good as a backup option. But if they can get someone of Gabriel Jesus' ilk in the door, I think he'd be absolutely perfect for this system. And I think a perfect kind of fit as well with what Arteta's trying to do, right? Young, hungry players, talented, all as a group, and there's a really good balance there. Andy, we look across London to West London, Chelsea. Some changes behind the scenes there with Bruce Buck, the long-time chairman, stepping down. Looks like Marina Granovskaya as well is going to move on. She's been the transfer guru at Chelsea for so many years under the former ownership. There's talk that Todd Bowley, the new American owner, is going to be doing a lot of the transfer deals here. And we're looking around. Lukaku looks like he's going back to Inter on loan. There's a lot of question marks about Timo Werner, Christian Pulisic, Hakim Ziyech maybe going out, and then the likes of Ousmane Dembele and Raheem Sterling coming in. So exciting for Chelsea, but a lot of change there and a little bit risky, but probably in that attacking third of the pitch, that's where the biggest changes need to be made for Thomas Tuchel, because everywhere else they're pretty solid, right?
You say exciting for I say I don't know. I really don't. Anytime you kind of obviously a transition of power running the club, but who is kind of more directly operating the club in terms of the squad and the transfers and everything. Anytime that role, that job, that responsibility changes, question everything that they do. Don't just say, okay, well, it's Chelsea, it's a big name player, it'll work out. You know, we give the benefit of the doubt, I think, in a lot of stable situations, smart situations where there's a track record of doing good business. I think Chelsea have there have been some big expensive misses over the years, but I think on the whole, they've been pretty good. And they've hit more than they have missed. But with potentially the owner coming in and running the transfer business, this could very quickly start to look like Manchester United of the last handful of years, where it's just knee-jerk reactions. Who's available? This player's available. I mean, Ousmane Dembele, since he's gone to Barca, his value has just gone down every single year. And if that's the type of player that we're talking about showing up at Chelsea to, build the new squad, I just don't know that it's going to work out. And Chelsea's going to just because they're Chelsea, maintain the level that they've been at, just because they have all that money. As we've seen with Manchester United, it doesn't always matter. I just have questions. I'm not saying it's not going to work. I have questions. Yeah.
No, you would hope that there's some kind of legacy planning there, right? In terms of Granovskaya, Petr Cech's behind the scene. I'm sure there's someone there who is maybe going to take it in front of the owner, and he's still involved in it, the new owner. But it's going to be interesting. I think defensively as well, losing Antonio Rudiger, Christensen's obviously gone as well. And then you have Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, some very good centre-backs, but they really need to strengthen in that area as well. And the likes of N'Golo Kante, a mixed season last year of all his injuries. So, yeah, I understand totally. A bit of a precarious situation for Chelsea to see, especially with Tottenham strengthening, Arsenal pushing them all the time, and maybe Man United figuring things out. Top four could be in the most jeopardy for them that it's been in a long, long time this upcoming season. All right, gents, a lot of transfer news there to wrap up over at Pro Soccer Talk and NBCSports.com. We'll keep you updated with all the latest news across the summer. We've only just got started, some big deals already, but so much more going on. And we'll keep you updated daily on the site with everything going on in the Premier League and elsewhere in the soccer world.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series, and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches, and much more.